So it started kind of just, it was a very strange, I never had any thought or idea of launching a nonprofit to help those experiencing homelessness. It was kind of a byproduct. So I started another business coming up on probably about 15 years ago called Paper Clouds Apparel. And what we would do is we would take artwork created by individuals with special needs and put it on t-shirts, sweatshirts, clothing, apparel, and then sell that through our website. And then we would donate 50% of the proceeds to that special needs cause. And then we would hire adults with special needs to fold and package the shirts as well before we ship them out. And so through that business, I was always just driving around town, whether it to be my wholesaler, my screen printer, to the post office. And I think, anybody, if you drive around any major city these days, and we're here in Phoenix, you see that, there's a lot of people that are really struggling. And pulled up to an intersection one time to get onto an off ramp, and there was a gentleman holding a sign, flying their flag. That's the street lingo. Flying the flag is what they call, holding the sign. So he was out flying his flag, and the T-shirt that he had on, it was just, I'm guessing it started off as just a black blank T-shirt, but by the time I saw him, it had holes in it, and it had been so baked by the sun that it was almost a light brown color. And like when you look at sedentary rock, you could just see like the layers of just sweat from him wearing the shirt for so long. And I just saw this man, and I thought to myself, like, you have an apparel company, you need to get out there and do something to help. And so initially I was like, oh, I know what I'll do. I went out and I bought a ton of new t-shirts, and I screen printed the Paper Clouds Apparel logo on them. But I wanted to do more than just give them a shirt. And so I came up with the idea of what we call letters of hope, which are just handwritten letters of encouragement, just, from one stranger to another, just being like, hey, man, I believe in you. I know it's hard for you, and I know people are really mean to you, but just keep going. Just things that if you were experiencing homelessness and somebody gave you a letter to read, that you could read and hopefully make you feel a little bit better about yourself. So I had put that out on the Paper Clouds Apparel social media page about what I was going to be doing. And if people were interested, gave them my address to send letters. And within a couple of weeks, I'd probably had couple hundred letters that had been mailed to me. And so October 14th, 2015 was like day one of going out on what at that time, again, I was just going out to do something good. Went out. The third person that I met was a gentleman named Daniel, and he was sitting, didn't have a t-shirt on, just had a pair of shorts on, and was sitting down in a park and had a pillow and a blanket next to him. And so I went up to him, and the first thing that I would always do in meeting anybody was, hi, put out my hand, shake his hand. Hi, my name is Robert. What's your name? Because when you're experiencing homelessness, people rarely ever take the time to even just learn your name, and it's something that, human psychology has shown that just somebody calling your name has a positive effect on you. And so told me his name was Daniel, and I was like, hi, Daniel, well, here's a shirt for you, and here's a letter of hope. And after I gave him the shirt, he put his head in his hands and started crying. And so I looked at my friend that was with me named Bree, and I was like, crap, did I say something wrong? And I was like, hey, like, is everything okay? And he's like, yeah, a week ago when I was sleeping, somebody stole my backpack, so I haven't had a shirt for a week. And I was like, you haven't even had a t-shirt for a week, And I was like, this is, the United States, the greatest country in the world. And it's like, here we have people that you don't even have a t-shirt. And so it was kind of like a cartoon where like a light bulb kind of goes off in my head. And I was like, all right, well, what's something else that you need? And he was like, socks. I was like, all right, cool. So then a couple days later, I went out on my second trip, and that time I had a t-shirt, socks, and a letter of hope. And the really strange thing is that I saw Daniel again, and I never saw him again after that. I saw this gentleman 2 times, but literally just my interactions with him completely changed the trajectory of my life. And I will never forget when I gave him the socks, and he sat down to put the socks on, and he went to take off the pair that he had on. And he went to just stretch it out a little bit. He'd worn them so long that the elastic, it literally like disintegrated, and you saw like dust come out of it. And I was just like, you think you understand like how hard some people really have it. But then, the more I become immersed in this community, the more I realize that like, I don't have a clue. And also like, if I was put in their situation, even though like having all this knowledge, having interacted with these people, like I I don't know if I would be able to survive for long, and definitely to keep the positive attitude and the positive outlook that so many of the people that we meet. And so literally it was just going out, handing out shirts, and then it just kept on escalating where each time I would go out, I would meet people and ask them, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? And so many people were like, I need a shower, and they were kind of joking, but it led me to do some research and kind of start on my next mission of building, a mobile laundry and shower trailer.
That's that's a amazing and inspiring story for sure. And Daniel, it's like I'm sure you would probably give anything to try to meet him again now and be like, "Hey, Daniel, because of you, look at everything we've been able to build."
I did have a pretty cool moment where there were, because there were, from the time we got our 501c3 in May of 2016. The first trailer didn't roll out until August of 2020. So there were 4 years of having the nonprofit where I was just going out just with supplies and meeting people and giving them stuff while I was working on this trailer and trying to find a way to make it happen. So it was a definitely a very long and hard process, but it's definitely been cool to, I lucked out where I had a couple of people that were, OGs that were, around from those first couple missions that got to come out and see the trailer. I mean, it was really unfortunate. We had two gentlemen named Kevin and Richard that I became just really good friends with and would go out and see them all the time. And they were just super, super kind and sweet. And they would panhandle on opposite sides of an intersection and would just panhandle enough to where they could get a room. It was like $30 at a really cheap gross motel, but that was their goal each day, like raise $30. And so I just met them, became really good friends with them. Unfortunately, Kevin passed away from cancer almost a year before the trailer launched. Richard got to come and see the trailer, but then unfortunately he died from cancer maybe like 8 months later. But it was still, I
Mm,
was like, Richard, like, you're one of the people that made this happen. Like
yeah,
thousands, tens of thousands of people, are receiving showers and haircuts and laundry and clothing and food, jobs, because of, you being who you are, and it was really cool being, I got to share that with his sister, because after he passed, one of his sisters from back in Detroit got in touch with me, and I got to let her know, like, getting a little emotional here, but
mhm,
how much, her brother meant. Sorry.
mm. No, it's all good. I feel it. I feel the love. It's amazing, and it's good to not a lot of people show emotion, and when it comes to talking about these things, and it's good because it just shows other people just how much you care about what you're doing in the mission, right? And the impact that you're having. So I heard a stat earlier about how many people you've helped get jobs and like kind of help get off the street. Let's talk a little bit about that. Like, tell some
Yeah,
success
so far in
stories.
Phoenix now, we've provided right up. We just crossed the 20,000 shower mark, which is
Nice.
is it's amazing to think that 20,000 people have been able to take a hot shower, and everybody who showers receives a new pair of underwear, and these are new, like not like gently used, but we make, because we pride ourselves, we want to give them something new, not something that's new to them, but they get a new T-shirt, new underwear, new shorts, new pair of socks. The women, we have sports bras for them, and so they get to go in there and take a shower and then come out, head to toe completely new and clean and fresh. And so through that, my goal is, I always want to help. I want to help these people to, hopefully lead a better life. I know we don't go out there telling them what we need to do. Like, I don't tell a single person what they need to do. That's their life and their decisions.
Hmm.
All I can do is let them know that if they want a better life, it's possible. It's not going to be easy, but it's possible, and so we just try and give them all the tools, help them be clean and presentable, so then that day, they can hit the pavement and hopefully go out there and try and find a new job. And we've had 75 people that have used our services that have, come back and reported to us that they were able to find work, and so it's fun. We have, just to be able to see them with a big smile and know that, hopefully they're on the path to, just living a better life.
Yeah. And it's amazing how, there's just so many people that have so many different situations, and a lot of us think like, oh, we had a bad day and life is horrible, but then it's like you don't see the other aspect of all of these people that are living on the streets, and really it's like they a lot of them just don't know what step to take next, and they almost just need somebody to be like, hey, this is, take a shower, do this, and maybe, now you can go out and, maybe they feel the showers are what gives them the power to be like, and the confidence to go out and put themselves out there and interview. And before, they were probably like, hey, I'm not going to get a job, I look like this, I smell like this, my clothes look like this, and I'm not even going to try because nobody's going to accept me the way that I am. And it's like you're just giving them that little bit of hope to be like, hey, and the confidence to start fresh for that one day, and like, hey, go out there and hit the ground, and let's get some things going. And it's amazing how you just need a little spark,
Well,
and
and
somebody to build that confidence.
the thing that I always tell people is that like the showers and the clothing, the laundry, the haircuts, the food, like the services we provide, that's not our main mission. Those are the tools that I use to get these people to come out and visit us. And our slogan is shower the streets with love, and it allows our team, our volunteers and our employees then to just treat them with kindness, compassion, and love, because if you the number one thing that I want to accomplish is that when that person walks away after visiting us that day, that they know that somebody cares about them, period. Because if you don't have that belief, if you don't believe that like somebody cares about you, what motivation do you have to want to try and get a job, to want to get a better life? But if you know that like people care about you, and that people show you that you have value and you have worth, it just builds their self-esteem up to where they start to believe in themselves again, because without, like I said, to go back to what we were talking about starting a nonprofit, if you don't believe in yourself, like you're never going to be able to get out of your current situation, so it's just getting them out there and giving them, yeah, showers, haircuts, making them look better. But again, all that does still, even looking better, it's in here that really, takes off. One of my favorite aspects is watching like the people who are getting haircuts, and when they sit down and then when they get up and like, our stylist, giving them the mirror to look at themselves, and they look at themselves and like, oh my, wow, like this is what I look like not that disheveled person who was, walking around, like this is what I really look like. And then to watch them after they get up and they're kind of walking away and you see their chest kind of puff up,
Mm-hmm.
and you see them like looking and catching their reflection in mirrors and like just feeling good about
Yeah.
themselves.
I saw some of the photos on your website, and that's the way I felt when I saw the before and after photos of the haircut. The guy with the big gray beard, and then the second or the after where it's like nice and trimmed up and his hair's combed. It's like, man, it's a huge transformation.
And the huge, the biggest transformation is in their eyes,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
like because before they sit down, they're having a bad day, but we're so fortunate that the hair professionals that come out and volunteer with us
Mm.
do such an incredible job. They treat them like they're sitting in their chair at a high-end salon, and so they just talk to them and comfort them. And one of the funny things to watch is always how many people will just fall asleep while getting their haircut just because they feel safe,
Yeah.
and they
They can let their
they
guard
know
down.
that they're okay, and so they just allow their guard to drop a little bit and will fall asleep in the chair, and we have tons of people that will come out and show up really early so they can get their shower, get a little food, and then they'll kind of lay down and take a nap because again, they know that they're safe around us, where
Mm.
out in the real world, when they're sleeping, they have to worry about being attacked, about being arrested, and all the other things that just kind of come along with life on the streets, really.
Yeah. Now, I know you started in Phoenix, but now you spread out to multiple cities. What other cities are you in, and where's the big vision? How far are you expanding?
Yeah, so we launched in Fort Worth, Texas. I have an amazing friend. She's a country musician named Courtney Patton, and she had come out to Phoenix for a show and hung out. And she came out with me on a street mission back before we had the trailer. And then when we got our trailer, she just would share stuff on social media. And a couple of her fans and supporters reached out to her. We're like, hey, do you know this guy? Can you put us in touch with him? And so Courtney reached out and was like, hey, like I've got this amazing group it was 3 women. It was this lady named Margaret Smith and her 2 friends named Gina and Sarah, and they reached out and they're like, hey, we want to bring this to Fort Worth. Can we fly down to Phoenix, see your trailer, volunteer with you, and then have a talk? And I was like, yeah, of course. They flew down here, and halfway through that first day, they were like, we're taking you to dinner tonight because we're going to make this happen. We want to know how to make this happen. And I was like, all right. So we went to dinner and literally just kind of gave them the blueprint that we had kind of put together through our struggles in getting launched. And they did such an incredible job. And one thing that's so true about Texans is that Texans will support other Texans. Like, it truly is like its own country. And so they have had just such amazing community support. And so I believe it was January 2022, they launched their trailer, and they've been on the street and killing it every day since. And so I just could not be more proud of them. And we are right now in the progress of launching in Tucson, Arizona. We actually, tomorrow I will be going to pick up our new trailer that we're having wrapped. And so hopefully within the next, I'm hoping 2 months. There's still obviously a lot of stuff that always needs to get done, as you get ready to launch. But hopefully in 2 months' time, we'll have our third trailer up and providing services to those experiencing homelessness in Tucson. And as far as like moving forward, like, I would love to continue growing, but right now, like, we're like, this nonprofit, it's like Cloud Covered Streets is me, and there's only so much time in the day to try and do this. And one of the things that I've just in the past, like maybe like 6 months or so, really come to realize and make sure that I focus time on is spending time away from this. Because basically since, inception, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Cloud Covered Streets is on my life. It's everything. It's around me at all times. It's the first thing I think about when I wake up. It's the last thing when I go to sleep at night that I think about. But I've learned that it's not healthy for your mental health. And so these last couple months, I've been trying to step away a little bit and take weekends off and breathe a little bit so I don't break down, because burnout, especially in this demographic, burnout is really, really high, because you're seeing, when you have to see human beings that are struggling at a level that you can't comprehend, and you're seeing it multiple times a week, and you become friends with these people that are really struggling, like, it's going to affect you. You can try the best you can to compartmentalize and put it away. But, when I'm luckily here in Phoenix, we don't have to worry about bad weather. But when it rains and when there's weather like that, all I think about is, oh my goodness, like, I hope Eric was able to find a safe place to sleep. I hope Tim found somewhere to keep his dogs safe out of the rain, and so it's just always there. And so I'm definitely trying to focus on not having it on my mind 24/7. So it's like the expansion, like, I would love to have a trailer in every city that there is a need, because it's something that I think that we see across the country is this is an issue that's not going anywhere anytime soon. And I think as long as the cost of living continues to just skyrocket, we're going to see more and more people that are having to, go to the streets because they just can't afford to live a normal life, and I'm not smart enough to figure out how we go about fixing this problem, but we definitely, something needs to be done. We need to do a better job taking care of everybody, and it's possible. We have the money, we give trillions of dollars to other countries all the time. And it's like, how about we take some of that money and really invest it in, the number one thing we need free mental health care, and we need free drug care clinics, because one of the things that I didn't really understand until I became, again, immersed in this culture, was how easy it is to become homeless. How many of the people that experience homelessness, it's not because of drugs or alcohol at all. It's life kind of got in the way. But then, once they are on the street for a little while, and say they've been trying to get a job and they're trying to get back on their feet, but they're just getting doors slammed in their faces and they're just having a really rough go of it. And somebody comes up to them and is like, hey man, want try this? They've got nothing to lose. So they're like, well, my life sucks. So I'm gonna, you know, try
Maybe
this
this will make it
drug,
feel
and at
better.
least I'll have that escape for a couple of hours,
Yeah.
and now by trying that, now they've got, on top of all their other issues, now they have a drug addiction problem on top of that. And
Mm.
so it's like, even if people didn't, drugs weren't what sent them to the street, unfortunately, like drugs and mental health are what keep the majority of people on the streets. But if we could really get them the type of care they need, we have so many just what could be incredibly productive human beings really contributing to this society, if we just could give them a chance. But if they don't have a real place to get rid of their drug issues, to get some help with their mental health issues, then like they're going to stay in that situation. But until, the powers that be really put out that lending hand and really try and help us make a difference in our community, unfortunately, I think it's just going to continue to skyrocket.
Yeah. So how do people learn about you, donate? Where can they go to kind of be involved?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. Just cloudcoveredstreets.org is our website. If they go on any of the social medias, we're on, Facebook, Instagram. Luckily, we have a 15-year-old volunteer who runs our TikTok page, because I'm a dinosaur. It's way too hip and cool for me to run. So luckily, we've got her to keep in charge of that. But we would love to hear from anybody. So if they see this and want to talk, reach out, shoot us a message. They can email me. It's just cloudcoveredstreets@gmail.com. I want to talk to them. And if they want to try and do this in their community, I would love to give tips and advice and just encourage people to just show a little bit of kindness to people that are struggling. Like it's not hard to be nice.
It's
I, we
something
had
free
a,
to do.
yeah, I'll never forget. We had a gentleman named Carl that used to always be at a on ramp right here in Phoenix that had a ton of traffic going by, and he would hold his sign and he would literally wave and smile to every single car. Every single car, like didn't matter if they stopped, gave him money, nothing. He would just smile and wave. And I remember talking to him. I was like, man, like it's like, Carl, like you smile and wave to everybody, And he's like, very few of them are going to give me money. I understand that, but if they smile and wave back, he's like, it makes me feel better. And
Yeah.
so it's like,
So payment in another way.
yeah, yeah. And again, it's just showing compassion and kindness to people. We need to get back on that and we've become just so self-absorbed where we're just in such a me culture. And it's like, that's not the path. Like eventually you're going to realize that leaves you pretty empty, and that we need community. And you'll find out, like, nothing is better than having a busy day. Like yesterday we had an insanely busy day. I think we did like 47 showers and 48 haircuts. We had a
Wow.
ton of stylists show up. And so it was like, but like going to bed at night, I could go to bed being like, man, like
Mhm.
a ton of people had a better day because of our hard work, So it's like,
Yeah.
it's such a motivator to keep going and keep doing this, because it is hard. Today's our day off. We go out Monday and Wednesday and Friday, and today's a Tuesday. So today our days off are even busier for me. I've been up since 4 a.m. washing all the towels from yesterday's services, going to getting propane, getting water, getting the trailer all stocked up. So it's still very, very difficult, but it's worth it.
Mm. Well, you're making a huge impact, and thank you so much for taking the time to share your story today. I want to do whatever we can. I would love to bring our camera crew down there the next time we're in
Oh,
Phoenix and follow you around for a day and just kind of
please.
get a nice, just kind of in person, just experience of this, because the emotion that I can feel coming out of you, like it's like, oh, I could just feel the love that you have for what you do, and like it's just I want to capture a little bit of that.
Oh, and coming out and seeing it, like I tell people, like seeing what we do through pictures and even video, like it doesn't do it justice. Like when you're actually out there and you see people that, again, have just been having a rough go of it, and they
Yeah.
may show up just looking really rough, and then you see them come out of the shower, and it's just like you can see like just a weight has been lifted on them, they just, and so it's such a cool thing to witness. People that show up, the people that leave are completely different than the person that shows up, and not even just their physical. Yeah, they look completely different, but just the way they feel and the way they act, and I tell people all the time, we've been running now for over 3 years. We haven't had a single like major like fight at our any of our sites. Like everybody, because we just again treat them like human beings with respect and kindness,
Yeah.
and we get that right back. We don't have any problems with any vandalism at the areas we're at. Like we just show
Right.
people respect and they return respect. And I just want other people to understand, like, hey man, that's the way the world works. If
Hmm.
you're just nice to people, people will be nice to you. Try it out. I guarantee your life will be much, much better if you just like, I forget who the exact quote is, but it goes something along the lines of, if you're living your life in a manner where you're not trying to make somebody else's life better, then you're missing the point.
Hmm. I like
And
that.
I think that's it. If I can make somebody else's life better, then my life is a success.
Hmm. Well, I think you're on the on the right track, and I think you're doing a
Thank you.
great job. Robert, thank you so much for taking the time. I can't wait to meet you in person, and we definitely will make the plans to come out to Phoenix for sure, and
Look forward to
to
it.
do all that. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Well, thank you for
Um,
having me on. I'm so, so grateful.
For-profit business, so that they can
Yeah.
have that runway. Um, and you brought up some great things at the beginning, which is kind of why I like kind of leading those off, because I'm looking for a couple people to just do a little interview and just pick their brains and kind of highlight
Yeah.
the organization.
Any way I can
Um,
help, please.
yeah, I will definitely reach out to you with that.
Awesome.
But my question, I guess I have real quick is, when you talk about like runway, when do you think is the next time like to hire like your first employee?
Oh, so I
Um,
mean, well, we have three, and we have one of the things that we do that I love, and that because again, there's other shower trailers out there. Like I'm not trying to be like, oh, we're the only one. Obviously,
yeah,
there's a ton of them, but one of the things that we do that I really take pride in, that as far as I know, I don't know of any of them that do it, but we actually hire individuals experiencing homelessness to help run our trailer. So right now we have 3 employees. We have Rick, Daryl, and Marcus that are all experiencing homelessness, but come out with us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to help us run the trailer. So
mm,
we've got those type of employees. I would love, nothing would make me happier than to find a real like full time, like somebody else to kind of get down in the trenches with me
yeah,
and grind this out and make it happen. But unfortunately, right now, I really haven't found anybody yet. But fingers crossed. But right now, like again, if we do just stay with Phoenix, Fort Worth, and Tucson, like I can. It's a lot, but I can kind of control the three locations on my own without needing too much help. And by saving the resources, that means more money goes into the actual program instead of overhead. So
yeah,
I'm going to try and ride it out for as long as I can, and if I do find somebody that I know is, going to be a great member, an asset to the team, and really, really provide, the things that we need to help us just thrive in each location. So I don't know when that's going to be, and I don't know where we even find these people, but hopefully within the next year, I would love to find, a
yeah.
full-time, somebody that has a lot of experience and can really take a little bit off my plate so I can breathe a little bit.
Now you said at the beginning that you own a t-shirt apparel company.
Yeah.
How do you feel that business experience has translated into like now running a nonprofit? Like, do you think it's made it easier to run it, or it's a whole different ballgame?
It's like 50-50. Yes, it made it easier, like having some idea about payroll, about schematics, about logistics, and
Marketing.
about, again, writing down a business plan. I think that writing things down is for some reason a lost art where people, it's like I just tell everyone, like, write it down, and then you can just continue to build on that plan. And but if you don't write it down, again, that idea could, it's going to disappear like a fart in the wind. But write
Hmm.
it down, and then you can really attack it. And so I think that running a business helped me with, as far as the behind the scenes aspect of it. But then also a nonprofit is so worlds apart from a for-profit business, where it's like there's
Hmm.
so many things that are very, very different. You
Yeah.
kind of have to forget about, that you learn while running a business, that don't apply to a nonprofit. But there's definitely some, you know cohesion in both of them, and it's just trying to find what worked for you with your business and then applying it to your nonprofit, seeing if it works. If it does, great. But if it doesn't, pivot, get rid
Pivot.
of it, and
Yeah.
and go down another path.
And I think the big thing there too is one, pivot when you think it doesn't work, but then the second, like you said earlier, never give up, right?
Yeah.
So
It's so funny because it's like they're completely different opposite things, but if they're like, there comes a point, like, so I was a baseball player. That's what I thought. I was going to be a baseball player, and be in the bigs, make a ton of money, and that's all I was ever going to do. And then when I was 27, I'd gotten hurt a lot, and blew out my elbow again, and I was just like, again, baseball is my life. I eat, sleep, breathe, like it was all I thought about, but as much as I loved it, there came a point where I had hurt my elbow. I was in Sioux City, Iowa, and I was sitting in the visitors clubhouse where I was living because they hadn't even found a place for me yet. So I was in the visitors clubhouse, and it was just kind of one of those real hard moments where you have to be like, you have to ask yourself, did I give this everything that I possibly had? Am I going to be able to walk away and not hate and regret my decision? Was there more I could have done? And I just
mm-hmm.
looked at it and I was like, no, like, you gave this everything you had, but unfortunately, hard work and determination doesn't always equal success, and so you
Yeah.
kind of have to at some point, be like, all right, I need to step away from this and find
Mm-hmm.
something else to do, and even with Paper Clouds Apparel, it was maybe about a year and a half or 2 years ago, I was so overwhelmed trying to run Cloud Covered Streets and run Paper Clouds Apparel that I was completely, like, it was heartbreaking, but I was like, I'm gonna have to shut down Paper Clouds Apparel, and uh again, I still get a little, uh, it still bothers me. I would, if I had the time, I would love to still be running it, but so I went on social media because I had people reach out to me, like, wanting to buy the name, but I was like, I don't know you and I don't trust you, and this name means too much. What I've built means too much to me to, like, just to sell it and then have somebody just sully what I had worked so
Mm-hmm.
hard to build. And so instead of selling it, I was like, nope, it's not about money for me in my life. So I'm just going to walk away and quit it. And I made an announcement on social media, and literally that day, a friend of mine named Bobby Paul, who is a drummer in an amazing band, Texas country band called Mickey and the Motor Cars. And he had helped me with the website for Paper Clouds Apparel. And he reached out. He's like, hey, can we talk? I was like, yeah, what's up, Bobby? And he's like, what would you think about me and his fiance, Sophie? He's like, what would you think about us taking over Paper Clouds Apparel? And I was like, so I flew to Austin to meet with Bobby and Sophie and talked about it. And he had a plan and his vision and all these things that he was working on for it. And so I was like, you know what? Yeah, you know what? It's yours. I'm like, I'm not going to sell it to you. It's just yours. I'm just going to give it to you. Like, again, like, money is not my thing. I hate money more than anything. It's such a necessary evil that it grosses me out. But I was like, I don't want money for it. Just keep it going and keep what I had started. Just keep that alive, and I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
You and Sophie, I don't.
Legacy.
You guys become millionaires off of it. I don't care. I don't want. I just want it to keep going because I know how much it means to all those people with special needs that got an opportunity to see their artwork on a t-shirt,
Yeah.
and made to feel talented and made to feel value about themselves, so
Yeah.
it's still going. And actually next month I'm headed out to Austin for Bobby and Sophie's wedding. So
Very cool, man. Robert, awesome stories. Thank you so much.